Thank you so much, and a very good morning. Bună ziua, Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like, of course, to thank Mayor Kolipan and the City of Brașov for inviting me here again to be. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here again in your beautiful city. And I would like to also comment your initiative regarding this Green Cities Forum and putting the focus on the role of the cities. And in general also the green transition. It's very important that we discuss these issues. A couple of general points, and then I will go to some of the examples and measures the Finnish cities are implementing currently. Climate change and the loss of the biodiversity are the biggest threat to our globe. We all know that, and it's not a threat anymore, it's a reality. And you have all seen and read about the news, read in the news about the heat waves in Europe and also the drought, and also here in Romania. So this is not the wake-up call, this is a final wake-up call. So we should, if we haven't done, we are doing, but we need to really accelerate. So it's very important to raise the awareness of these issues of climate change and the global heating, including the consequences. And first and foremost is to take concrete actions, including to change how we live. And this week and these 3 days are the good time to also discuss not only these topics, but also the solution, what can be found and what has been found. The urbanization has left cities and residents struggling with congestion, air pollution, and the waste, as it was stated the measures that Romania is taking in this field. And in many European cities, traffic and heating are the biggest sources of the carbon emissions. So why is it important that we are here today and this week and talk about the roles of the cities in green transition? There are at least 4 issues or four motives. First, the majority of the citizens lives in cities. Second, 70% of the greenhouse gases comes from the cities. Third, 70% of the energy and natural resources is consumed by cities. And of course, fourth, the local authorities are the ones who are making decisions in sectors relevant to this issue of the smart green cities. As I said in the beginning, we need to tackle challenges regarding climate change and global heating today, or we should have tackled them yesterday. Definitely not tomorrow. And we can do it by accelerating transformation of our societies into circular economy based on recycling, reuse, reproduction, and sharing. And many of these issues like sharing, like Uber is about sharing and pooling cars and not taking your individual car every day. Finland aims to become a carbon neutral circular economy society by 2035. It's really very ambitious target, and it requires a long-term strategic approach and concrete plans, and this is important, very close and wide-range cooperation between the number of the stakeholders, of course, the government, municipalities, companies, academia, research centers, and not to talk about citizens and NGOs, civil society. Finnish cities have gained international attention to the creation and implementation of innovative and functional smart city solutions related to the energy efficiency, waste management, smart buildings, urban planning, and sustainable mobility. And I'll give you one example, the capital of Finland, Helsinki. It was ranked as the 5th best smart city in the world in the Smart City Governance Top 50 ranking 2 years ago. And just one example in the field of the mobility. Helsinki has been developing a mobility ecosystem based on the cycling and walking. These are the most important. They are really promoting that the people walk and bike. But also they have developed the public transportation. And also the the city spaces in the city have been moved into the pedestrian areas without any car. So the new micromobility options such as electric scooters and electric bikes have been introduced. Tram network is really under the heavy transformation and expansion. And the city bus fleet has become an electric one, like here in Brasov. And there is, of course, this big boom of creating a wider charging network for electric cars. They are not so. We are still a lot to do regarding the electric cars and make people to buy hybrid or electric cars. Energy is an important part of tackling the climate change, and I really do hope that this current energy crisis would accelerate green energy transition. And as it was stated by the minister, that we really hope that it would not affect negatively our long-term objectives in the field of transition and fighting against the climate change. So Finnish cities aim at becoming carbon-free cities by increasing, of course, the renewable energy sources, such as thermal, solar, biomass, and the wind energy. And also, this has been also promoted for certain years already, the past couple of years, wood. I mean, to have a wood construction in wood. One of the successful ways is the collection of the industry's excess heat and its reuse in the district heating. This is one of the recent measures, and it has become really. They have a good solutions and they have a good outcome in that field. Another solution is the utilization of waste in heating. Finland burns about 60% of its waste into energy. And I think this is quite natural that when you have waste, you have gathered, you have collected waste, you should make use of your waste. And feel free to contact the Embassy of Finland if you're interested in the Finnish solutions. There are big companies, Finnish companies, and we will be visiting a couple of Romanian cities with the Finnish companies, including the companies with the waste in the energy. Another Finnish city, Lahti, was a European Green Capital last year, and Lahti will actually become the first carbon neutral city in 2 years by 2025, so it's the first major city in Finland. And they're very well known as a recycling city because they recycle almost 100% of the household waste. And I have understood that later today, you will hear from the Deputy Mayor of Tampere, city of Tampere, the second biggest city in Finland. You will hear about how the Tampere is building the mobility ecosystem and promoting cycling and walking. Every major Finnish city has its own smart and circular strategy and action plans, but at the same time, and this is also important, they closely cooperate and coordinate. There was a project called AIKA, 6 AIKA. All 6 major cities cooperated and were discussing and coordinating their smart city plans and concrete actions. Developing a smart city is, of course, a huge opportunity for private companies, including startups. We are seeing that in Romania, of course. Because the companies are the one who produce business models, green technologies and innovations for a more functional smart city, not the cities or municipalities, but the companies. The way Finnish cities are working with companies is providing platforms for companies where they can test new solutions in a real life environments. So this means that companies can utilize the city's resources and open data for testing platform activities. This is a very important point because you can experiment a solution making use of data without actual users, and you can see immediately whether it works or not, and the citizens can give you feedback, to the companies. I'll give you an example of the 5 test beds in the city of Helsinki. Smart mobility, Helsinki as a learning environment, clean and smart urban environment, circular economy, and then the last one is the health and well-being. Cities and companies are enablers. As enablers are the key players, but we should always keep in mind that the ultimate goal of a smart city is to build healthy and safe and functional city for the residents. Although developing smart city is strongly technology-driven with the digitalization, it's equally, if not even more important, and the most important, to be people-oriented. Therefore, engaging people and communities is extremely important. I'm very pleased to see that there is one of the topics during these 2-3 days is the community engagement. I'll give you just a couple of examples the Finnish cities have regarding the community engagement. One of the main principles in developing a city of Helsinki, it's called Build a Better City Together with as many diverse voices as possible. Local decision-making must be based on the open dialogue and the interactive communication with the residents. In Finnish cities, residents can participate and influence activities, for example, by brainstorming ideas online, sending feedback, of course, and taking part in the volunteer opportunities. There are also, for example, in Helsinki, and I'm sure also in other Finnish cities, there are councils with advocacy groups with the disabled, elderly, and young persons who can provide input in the city administration. And there is this digital platform called My City. And there, the residents can also come up with the ideas for improving their neighborhoods with the city funds. So they can download or they can insert the ideas on this platform. Let me conclude by summarizing the key principles and practices the Finnish cities are developing these so-called smart circular cities. Open data that is owned by the residents, based on the principle of my data. Focus on the concept people first, smart city. Of course, digitalization of the services using 5G. Well, 5G is already on here, so on the 6G is on the way. And then, of course, the robotism, artificial intelligence. This is particularly important in the mobility ecosystem. Then, of course, what I was saying here lastly, commitment, participation, and cooperation of the whole ecosystem from citizens to companies, NGOs, research institutions, etc., etc. So I wish you very interesting discussions on these topics, and as it was said by the mayor, also to discuss and exchange of the digital and these different kind of the practices and measures. But if you allow me, let me end my presentation by saying that I found this wording and slogan somewhere. Sustainable future calls for action, not just talk.